Hello, everybody from the Stronger Together tribe. This is Becky Mossbrucker. And today on our podcast, we are going to talk about play. And Jennifer Williams is going to discuss her business, how she got started in it, and give us some details about her retreats, which sound very exciting. So listen in as we talk to Jennifer about her company. So welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Becky. It's so great to be here.
So tell us, what is the name of your company?
My company is called Wild Awakenings.
And how long have you been in business with that company?
Just 2 years now, so it's still a baby.
Nice.
Ah.
Nice. So I just celebrated, actually, it's next week, my 6 year anniversary.
Happy
And
anniversary.
so I know, right? So I've had like paint parties, I've had crafting parties, I've had a dinner, I've had like
Amazing.
every week this month, I've been doing something different to celebrate because I'm like, what business can say they stayed in business in 6 years in the middle of COVID?
Totally.
I
Yep.
started in
Oh,
October of 18, and then COVID happened right after that.
and you did it.
And my business was really in-person stuff. So to pivot to online was huge. And for me to be able to still be here 6 years later, I am ecstatic that it has still kept going. So we're going to talk about you today, though, not me. So, what does Wild Awakenings do exactly, and what made you decide to make this company for yourself?
Great question. Yeah, I think it's funny because I know that we're gonna zoom in on the retreats, but the retreat is actually what started my
Oh,
company. So I'm a teacher by training, and I used to teach high school. And I went to a women's retreat as a participant. And as I was there, I do a lot of outdoor and experiential education with the youth. And so while I was at this retreat, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I do. It's just with this totally different audience and in a different way. And so I had another job and I started the retreat, which we'll talk about later. And then I realized, oh, my business, like what I'm most passionate about, what brings me joy in the world is gathering people. And it's often to learn, well, it's always to learn something, let's be honest. It's often like a curriculum focused thing. Sometimes it's bringing people together to solve a problem or, explore a conflict or something. And then sometimes it's just for play. But it was running that retreat kind of as a passion project that made me realize what I really loved doing and gave me kind of the confidence to try and start something bigger. So rather than starting a business that was just called the name of the retreat, which is Camp Wild, I started this business, Wild Awakenings, because the work that I do is often connected to the outdoors and nature. My background's in environmental education. And
oh,
so
cool.
I do the work of gathering people. Yeah,
That is very cool. It's funny how sometimes you can take a former job or a hobby and turn it into a business. And, at first thought, you're like, who in the world, this is probably not going to work like I did. I was like, this, who knows if this is still anybody's going to want this and blah, blah, blah. And it's so funny because I have so many people on Facebook and Instagram that follow me and they hide behind the curtain, so I don't know that they're there. And then I'll have some comment about something and they're like, oh, yeah, well, I thought about that too. And the next thing you know, it's like this whole big thread of conversation. I'm like, you never know who is listening to you or who is watching you.
totally. It's
So,
true. And I think it's those little conversations too for me that help me build what it is. So I didn't jump all in and be like, okay, now I am a self-employed. Because I'm a teacher, I was able to substitute teach. So I still do sometimes between contracts and work. And also it's good to keep a foot in the door in
oh,
formal
yeah.
education. But it makes it more possible when you can do it in these bite-sized chunks and like really with intention, and you're building something that isn't, just out of survival. It's like really heart first, and building something that's really meaningful and important to you. And so I mean, I had that substitute teaching and a few like core contracts that enabled me to do this. But I still don't like I'm still fully dreaming this. It's still year two and it's still coming into
Oh
fruition.
yeah. It
Mhm.
took me probably 4 years or so before I really felt like I had a handle on everything.
Mhm.
And even now, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to hire somebody.
Amazing.
You can get so busy that you're just like, I can't do it all. And
Yeah.
I'm still working full time. So when I retire, which will hopefully be in the next year or two, it's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to be like full force on this. And yeah, my husband's like, oh my goodness. Like, yeah, just watch out, buddy. So, what is it about the outdoors that excites you?
I it's That's a good question. And also, what is it about four walls that doesn't excite me? I think, especially in education and learning, the walls kind of represent being, stifled or stuck. And there's a space and a time and a place for indoors. I get that. But when you're outside, it's just so much more expansive and fresh. And I think that we, as like humans, don't connect with the outdoors as much as we could. And so it's just like shifting our mindset to something in a totally different way. So often that's very explicit, like outdoor education with youth, but sometimes it's just how can we take this conference or this, whatever it may be, and just lift it up and move it outside, and what becomes possible in our mindset, our how what shifts. So I certainly don't exclusively work outdoors, but it is my happy place. I just last weekend was co-facilitating a participatory leadership gathering around reimagining education. And we could have done it in the city in a conference building or whatever, but we took over a research station that the researchers had gone, like the season closed, and we took it over and we lived in their bunks and we were on the land with a lake. And some of the learning we did definitely inside, but those breakout sessions, it also helped that the weather was phenomenal. We just were out and, in the living system that we are the most connected to, but don't always act like we are.
I think that's great because I know, when you're working in an office setting and you get to go take a break at lunch and you just walk outside and get away from your desk and just stand there and just look at the sun or, feel the sun on your face. It's like, oh my gosh, it's a breath of fresh air and I love it.
Yeah.
And I love that our weather in Virginia is pretty tolerable most of the year. July and August, it's like, very humid and just like, oh my goodness, it's just hotter than hot. But most of the year is pretty, we can handle it. And I like the sun. I don't know what it is. I'm very fair skinned, so I can't get out in it very much. But I'll go stand out in my backyard and just let the sun just hit me on the face, and just stand there and just feel it. I feel so much energy from it. I just love it. And yellow is my favorite color.
Oh, amazing.
I know, isn't that funny? I'm like, I've always loved yellow. And so, yeah, the sun is my happy place. I don't like to get in it much because, I'll get sunburned, but
Yeah.
I like to feel it on my skin. I like to hear the beach. I like to hear the waves.
Yeah.
That's very calming.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
there's a lot of science, like there's a lot of research that has shown things like the three sounds that really help our nervous system are birds, water of any kind, like any, well, probably not like really aggressive water, but waves or rain or, waterfalls, and then wind. Those are the three
oh,
like
really?
top sounds. Yeah. And the color that's best for our nervous system is green
Oh,
because it's in the middle of the spectrum. So there's all these studies on these things that actually show that it's having a nervous system response in our body that's like calming us down and just helping us regulate. So yeah, it makes sense that we're drawn to the outdoors. And then of course the sun is light, like natural, real light and warmth. And oh yeah, it's amazing.
yep. I feel my best when I've gotten some good sleep and I can get outside and see some sun.
Mhm. Yeah.
Winter is not my favorite time of year.
No, hey? I love winter.
No, no, no,
I
no.
love it.
Especially when we change our clocks. No, that
I don't
that will
love
happen in
that.
a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't love
Nope,
that.
nope.
But I do love winter.
Oh, do you? Yeah, I'm too cold-natured for it. I would like summer much better.
Air.
So, so talk about your retreats and what you do in those retreats that makes them so special compared to other retreats that are out there. And are they just
Mhm.
for women or do you have co-ed or how do you manage all of that?
Mhm. Yeah, so a lot of the work I do is partnering with different companies, and then I this is my offering. And so I work with a group of women. It's called Camp Wild, and it is a women's retreat. And it is WILD is an acronym here, so
Oh.
it stands for Wonder, Ignite, Let Go, and Discover. And it is a wellness retreat, but rather than, wellness as in, meditation and yoga, which are so important, and they're actually a part of this retreat too, it's wellness through play, which is something that we lose as adults, many of us. And we don't have the opportunity to do it. We don't know how, we've forgotten. And so we take over a kids camp in September. All the kids go back to school. And then we all gather, we take over this kids camp, and it is all about community and play. And so there's a team of women that help lead it that have all sorts of different gifts that they're bringing. And maybe it's, water sports. And so you can go down to the lake and you can try canoeing or stand up paddleboarding or swimming. My favorite thing is I have a unicorn floaty named Peggy, and that's my favorite place to be on the lake. Or, we have someone who teaches Qigong and is more of a personal coach. And so if you want to go into the kind of realm of personal growth, that's available to you. Or there's someone who does singing and arts and crafts and maybe theater and improv. And so you can try those things out. And
Wow.
camp classics like archery and low ropes and high ropes. And so it's all a choice. The number one thing is that you show up, and we tuck our phones away in cell phone sleeping bags. They're tucked away for the weekend. It's a digital detox. There's also no alcohol or drugs. We're bringing our full authentic selves, and we're there, and you are given the options of what's happening, and you only have to check in with yourself on what you're being called to. And I say only, but actually, it's one of the hardest things for women to do because we're pulled constantly in all sorts of directions in our lives, and we're constantly serving other people. What happens when you show up and it's actually your turn to check in with yourself on what it is you want to do and how you want to spend your time with full permission to walk out of things. If you show up somewhere and it's not actually your thing, you can just get up and leave without any feelings. Everybody will just be proud of you for, following your own heart. And the whole weekend is kind of a choose your own adventure style. And then in the evenings, there's some full camp activities like campfire sing-alongs. We have a talent show. We have the Camp Wild games where the teams, compete against each other in some of the classic camp games. And so, yeah, it's a weekend of play, and it's really, really the foundation of it all is community. So bringing these women together to experience that together.
That's funny because I've heard of a couple of people since COVID who are doing these women camps and never heard of these before, ever in my whole life until now. And I'm like, you know what? It's very cool that we as adults are learning to go back and play like we were kids. So many times we're so focused on our careers and raising our children and taking care of the house that we don't play anymore. We don't have fun like we used to. And you
Yep.
can just see sometimes I'll hear songs on the radio and I'm like, oh my gosh, it takes me back to my high school prom and things
Yeah.
like that. I'm like, we don't do the things that we used to do because I guess a lot of us think we're too grown up for that. We're too mature now. We don't need to play like that. But I think playing is fun. And I think we all should get out and do it. I think we would, have a ball and learn something about ourselves that we are maybe too uptight. We should relax a little bit more. Um, I know when we've gone bowling, and I think once or twice in like 5 or 7 years. It's been a long time, and I'm like, we need to go
Oh,
bowling more
fun.
often because it's just fun.
Let's just use that as a slogan. We need
Okay.
to go bowling more often. Yes, Becky, we do. I haven't
Yep.
been bowling in so long. That is a
Oh,
really
see, now
good
there you go.
invitation. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and we
So,
do try. We do try in between the camp. So also there's also a winter one. So we did it the first time last year. So I started the camp. So it's interesting to hear you say I started before COVID and survived COVID. I started because of COVID. I'm one of those
good.
that I saw this need for people to gather together. And I had realized before I went to that retreat in 2019. And so I had kind of been sitting on that experience all these years during the pandemic. And then I was ready to go. And so we also do one in the winter, which I'm in Canada. I'm in Ottawa, so between Toronto and Montreal, and we get winter hard. And some people like to hibernate in the winter, and so the winter camp is really meant to kind of invite them out of that hibernation and gather with other women in a time where I think we really need it. The darker months, the colder months. And then we also have, some community events in between. We're still growing that. So we started in 2022. Camp Wild started in 2022. So we're trying to figure that part out, but we do them as fundraisers to support a bursary
Cool.
program to support women to come. And so bowling would be a great one. But
Oh,
yeah,
there you
sometimes we go for hikes or we did a vision boarding earlier this year together. And I've actually been collecting pottery that has cracks. And I think one day we're going to smash it all and get that out and then make mosaics.
Oh, there
Um,
you go.
yeah, so we're always looking for those in between things too. So bowling, noted. Got it.
No, it's kind of funny too because I'm trying to start a women's networking group in my area. We have a couple that are certainly, every city has them. And I thought, my networking group is not just for business women, it's for everyday housewives too. And you don't find that very often. And somebody asked me, was it a meetup group? And I'm like, not like that. No, we're not doing any of that typical meetup group stuff. We're going out and doing crafts, or we go to dinner, or we haven't done the bowling yet, but we did axe throwing a couple years ago. Just just different stuff, right? It doesn't need to be stuffy. You don't need to be sitting at a table handing out business cards and talking about which is fine if you do. But
Yeah.
one of my friends texted me last week when we were going to do a dinner, and she was like, I don't feel like I'm included. I don't have a business. And I said, I remember this is not just for business women. So,
Yeah.
trying to get that fun
Yeah.
out there for the women to get away from the house for a while, go to a restaurant, have somebody else cook your dinner so you don't have to do it, get away from the kids and whoever, and just go have fun with some girls. You know,
Mhm.
I'm trying to build it up, and it's been funny because I've been having these meetings every month since October, and I've had a different group of women every single month. It has never been the same except one constant woman.
Oh,
Every month, it's
interesting.
always been a different group. It is hilarious to me. I'm like, if I could just get them all to come into one,
Huh.
we could have a retreat. If I
Yeah,
could get
you
them
should you should host a
all together.
retreat. It's interesting, yeah, and I really resonate with what you say, and you are all about connection too. That
I
is
am.
your jam, and that's also like community and bringing people together is mine as well. And when I was starting to figure out how to market the retreats, those marketing experts would always say like, "Who's your target audience?" And I would say, "Women."
Yep.
And they would say, no, no, no. How old is she? What's her job? How does she like her coffee? Da, da, da. I'm like, no, it's women. And because of that, it's called together. This really, I was saying to you before, the 20s, 28 has been the youngest so far, and 73 has been the oldest so far. And we have this intergenerational mix every year. And, moms come. and child-free women come, and professionals come, and retired women come, and that's magic, right?
Yep.
So I love that you're doing that because there are so many networking groups and opportunities with a
Yep.
really targeted focus, but there's something that magical in bringing the diversity together that isn't possible when you just have other things are possible when you have a closed knit thing, but no, keep doing it. That's amazing. I'd
That's
tell.
what I thought. I'm like, I don't want the women who are lonely, who don't have a spouse or a partner. They're living at home. They go to work every day and they just go home and they just sit. And I'm like, they're the ones who've been asking me, can you start a group? And I'm kind of like, well, of course I can.
Of course you can.
Of course I can.
Yeah.
So it's been funny. It's been so funny. I'm like, this
Sweet.
group is for everybody. And that's
Amazing.
why I liked the name Stronger Together, because we obviously are stronger together, right? Just like you're saying, because everybody's got a different talent, and they can bring different attributes to the group. And I want
Totally.
everybody to feel included and like they're wanted. I hate it when people say, I don't want to come because they don't have a business. And I'm like, it's not about that. It's about just women coming
Alone.
together
Mhm.
and having fun. And actually in 2025, and I might do it in the fall, I'm trying to plan a retreat. So I might have to pick your brain about that later.
Oh, call me. Yeah. That would
We
be
have
so
a
good.
we have a Boy Scout camp here that's about an hour away. And I already went out and toured it, and it's awesome. It's got its own little lake. It's not huge, but it's got its own little lake, and they have canoes, and they have bunk houses and hotel rooms, and they have a kitchen where the staff cooks. And I'm like, I've got all the buildings and all the sleeping arrange. Everything's here. It's all here
Amazing.
waiting for me.
Amazing.
So I am
Bring
gonna,
them together.
yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm kind of like, yep, we can have one room where they do art, like you're saying, and one room where they learn theater, and one room where they learn.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be next year's
Yeah.
plan. So
Okay.
see, you're
Awesome.
inspiring me to think about it some more because I kind of put it back on the back burner for a little bit. So got to dust it off and bring it forward.
Bring it forward. I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Great.
this has been great. Do you have any last minute things you want to tell us about your company or your retreats before we go?
Well, I just think if anybody is interested in learning more, I haven't launched next year's yet, but they'll be launched soon. They can check it out at campwild.ca. Um, so yeah, campwild.ca, check it out. And my contacts there if anybody had any questions. But yeah, we've had a few Americans come up, but it is a drive. But anybody watching, listening that's in that zone, we would love to welcome you.
Awesome. All
Mhm.
right. Well, thank you for being on. And to those of you that are listening, stay tuned for the next episode real soon, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.